Yeah. All right. I think we're ready to go. It's 2:03 as always. Welcome to Bantu TV, and I am Kalinda Shichinda right here
You're
in.
breaking.
I'm breaking. Oh, I can hear you. I think let's look at tech over. I'm gonna go out and then come back in. How about that? Can we do that?
Let
Can
me
you hear
just
us, Sophia?
let me just go on. Let me just go on the other page as well. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll do that.
All
Give
right,
me.
all right.
Uh, uh,
Jim Pinky, can you hear us?
I can hear you clearly.
Oh, great. Matongo, are you still there?
okay, let's go.
All right, let's go. I think it's. Oh, we lost him. I guess let's start with the introduction. Well,
Yes,
good afternoon, world. Welcome to Bantu TV, and we're live and direct. And I am Kalinda Shachinda, broadcasting out of the Hoosier State, right here in the city of Indianapolis. It's about almost 70 degrees, sunny, and I'm ready to go out. Pow, pow, pow. Bachelor, do your vuvuzelas. Come
yes,
in.
yes. This is Bachanda Chilufia coming all the way live from Ontario, Canada. We thank everybody that's taken their time out of their busy schedule, of course, to join us and have this discourse and tackle most of the most trending topics in Zambia. And we're happy to be here and happy to address a lot of the topics that have been trending. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and pass it on to Valentine.
All right, this is Valentine Gapari, the Munabwengwa, Mwananchega, joining in from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Midwest of the U.S. Happy to be here.
Fantastic.
All right, I think Matongo is back. Matongo, we have the Zesco powerhouse in the building. Welcome to the podcast, sir. How is your evening going? Matongo? All right. I don't know what's going on. Let's
Oh,
look here.
I think he's trying to
He's saying,
situate himself and
yeah,
maybe
he's saying
find
the
it.
line is bad, can hardly hear a thing. All right, now what do we do?
Hmm, yeah.
What do we
So
do, actually?
okay,
What do we do?
okay. What do we do? We start the program. So let's start the program. I mean, what's the first
Uh,
topic?
maybe before let's start. Matongo, if he can hear us, maybe he needs to come out and reboot his system. Let me tell him that. Maybe that works. But in the meantime, yeah, start on the topic. I will be communicating in the background. Go ahead.
Well, I think the first topic is the trending one, which is Invest Trust Bank. Of course, we know that it's been taken over by Bank of Zambia. And now we need to understand one thing is why would Bank of Zambia just do that? And of course, we know that it's been the bank itself is suffering with insolvency. The meaning they don't have enough money to run as a bank. Now, what led for that to happen? That's the big question, and every Zambian wants to know why. Everybody has they invested their own money into Invest Trust. A lot of people have got accounts there, and all of a sudden they just hear, oh, they want to go and withdraw their money, they can't do it. They want to go and do some business transactions in their bank, it's closed. Why? What happened? We really need to get to the bottom of that and find out what really happened, and so that people out there can understand and know why this is happening, why the Bank of Zambia has taken over Invest Trust. Valentine, I don't know if you got any insights in this Invest Trust issue.
I do not have inside information about that. And um, I don't know if I can speak to that, but all I know is at the rate we're going as a country is quite detrimental for companies or organizations to fall under. So the taking over probably is because you don't want anything to go under. You have to either bail them out or be part of. That's what I can. That's all I can think about. But I really don't know. I
mm,
yield.
mm,
All right. Interesting stuff. So, I mean, for me, from what I can see, is that I'm sorry, but I just have to be political.
mm,
When I see a list of names of people that owe that bank that have been paid back,
mm,
and they're all in not just to my hundreds, like 100 kwacha here or 10 kwacha, but in dollars. I
mm,
mean,
mm,
case in point,
mm,
opposition leader like Nawaku Edith owing
mm,
at least
mm,
$200,000. Mumembe, the Socialist Party president himself, uh, through that defunct Zambia Airlines, in thousands of dollars, in fact, about $3 million, if I'm not mistaken, for him.
mm, mm,
And the list is endless. How do you
mm,
expect a bank to survive
mm.
on that?
No, you can't.
They
The
don't.
bank
I mean,
definitely cannot survive with all the kind of money out there, and people are not paying back. They borrow the money, but they don't pay back. They just took advantage of it because they knew that look, we maybe have friends in the system, or they've got friends, they've got special kind of arrangements with the previous regime. And what we need to understand is this: that people will start complaining to say, "Oh, wow, this current government has closed Invest Trust." Well, they had no option because the problems have been there even way before UPND formed government. And what the UPND government is trying to do is clean up the house, ukukolopa nokupyanga, remove all those bad elements, and just to make sure that the bank, I mean, it's a Zambian bank, but we need to understand that we just don't need to give each other loans because we are friends, you know. Eh,
I
eh,
should have done that stuff.
because you're an MD, Bakalinda, you're an MD, because I know you, and then you just say, "Oh no, stand up, Nanku Shiva. Here, let me give you this loan." Despite checking what my credit score is, or if I'll be able to pay the money back, kuri ecovan. So
Madam,
these issues, we need to understand how it works and how it was working. Mm. So
Yeah, yeah.
Madam Moderator, Madam Moderator.
Yes, maybe Valentine. Before you come out, let's reintroduce a new entrant in the name of Mr. Patrick Mulasa. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Bakalinda, mliofika nani kani? Echo. I think
Okay,
you
I'll
have
go.
too many devices on, I think.
Okay. Yes, I was trying to get it. I'm trying to be looking professional like you on my iPad. So, okay, I have to let go of one. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm going to suggest you can come in and introduce yourself. Welcome to the podcast. I'm like, are you there? No. Oh, you got yourself muted? Mr. Mlaisho, you're there? Hello. Anyway, so like I was saying, so it actually Invest Trust is a little bit saddening because what we've come to discover is a lot of people are worried, especially Amazonians that have invested money in the bank. Now they're trying to figure out what they're worried. I mean, if somebody you've got money in your bank and you can't access that money, meaning your business has come to a standstill. But what the current government is saying is like, look, people just stay calm. Your money is there, it's available, but you'll be able to access it very soon. As soon as they clean up and mop up all these issues. Yeah. I don't know where the heck was coming from, Kalinda.
It's not me. I'm now just using my iPad. I've muted everything. It's not me. Somebody is. It's not me.
Okay. So I think maybe let's all mute each other until when you want to talk. That's when you can unmute yourself.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, it sounds better now.
Yeah, Mama, I told you it wasn't me. It wasn't me at all.
Oh, but so yeah, so people are worried. People want their money. Twale kongeshani ndalama twakongeshanya bakalinda mpeni koshani mwampela because you know me. Mwamon. So now when everything comes to it, you find that Banki is now limping because of those kind of special deals, special arrangements that they had with all these big wigs. I mean, the list is long. I mean, everybody in the opposition. But one funny thing, Ivanawaki, but she was busy denying. She was busy denying. I was watching her on TV the other day. She was busy denying, I've never gotten loan, I've never shined. I'm like, well, maybe for just the public you can say that, but obviously your name cannot just come up. I mean, there's no smoke without fire.
Of course, I mean the papers. I mean the paperwork actually don't lie. Documents don't lie, and Nawaki has a system of borrowing. I mean, she still owes DPZ $2 million.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she still owes DPZ $2 million that she hasn't paid. And well, you know what? Let's bring in a new entrant, Mr. Tetrix Mono. Welcome to the podcast. Where are you joining us from? And just give us a little background about yourself. And of course, we are talking the Bank of Zambia taking over of Invest Trust. Come in, please.
Yes, thank you. I'm coming in from Chubombo.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm coming in from Chubombo. Right now, we just have a power cut, which we did not even expect.
Oh no!
You know what you just did, right? Because we were trying to get in the ZESCO spokesperson, Matongo. Is in and out. He's also experiencing this. So hopefully he can shed more light on that. So we're waiting on Mr. Matongo Maumbi too. Yeah, he's been in and out. He said he couldn't hear us. So hopefully he will join in and calm your nerves there, Mr. Mono. We appreciate you, joining in from Chibombo. Vamilaso.
Come again?
You have we can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
I don't know. Much muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
I'm coming in I'm able to get you.
Oh, great.
Yes, I'm able to get you. You are very loud and clear.
Oh, great. So what's your comment on the Bank of Zambia taking over of bank in Zambia? Your opinion?
Okay. The issue of the Bank of Zambia taking over Invest, I think it's a good move. But however, I'm just disappointed because most of the Zambian indigenous banks, they go under. And I think there is need for us to come up with a policy which is going to help our own banks to succeed.
Lamla, do you have multiple devices connected?
I think who is it? Ramona.
Someone who's got multiple devices connected, there's an echo.
Yeah, there's an echo. So maybe hold on to that, Mr. Mono. We just have Mr. Maumbi, the Zesco spokesman, joining in. We'll come back to you. We really want to focus on him for just now because we've been having a lot of connection issues. So, Matango, welcome back. Can you hear us?
I can hear, but it's a great echo.
Okay. So let's do this. How about now? Can you hear me better?
Much better.
Okay, great. So, welcome to the podcast. And I know I communicated with you last week, and I was surprised you said yes. But I appreciate you coming on here because we've been receiving quite a lot of concerns in as load shedding in Zambia is concerned. So basically, maybe for those that don't understand the concept, just go into explaining what load shedding is, please.
All right. Thanks for the invite. Let me already put a disclaimer. I don't know. The network is tripping here. I hope I won't be booted out anytime soon again.
We hope not. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, I'll start from. I think we've all noticed that we have had a very bad rain season this year, which has been described as one of the worst in the recent years. So at the end of December, we were informed that we will not have as much water as we need, especially in the Kariba Dam, around the Kariba Dam. So this, and then looking at the power situation, the generation capacity, Zambia is around 87% dependent on hydropower, with just about 12 or so percent of other alternative energy sources like Mamba, which provides, which uses coal, and a few solar power plants here and there. So you'll find that because of the reduced waters, it meant because the Zambezi River Authority halved the allocation that was to be given between Zambia and Zimbabwe. So last year we had about 16 billion cubic meters of water as Zambia, and Zimbabwe had an equal share. But this year, the allocation was reduced to 16 billion to be shared between the two countries, meaning Zambia could only utilize 8 billion cubic meters. That meant generation capacity dropped from the installed capacity of 1,080 to about just above 200 megawatts. So with that, and then looking at what we have in the country. So as a country generally, in terms of hydro, which is a good energy source, and if rains are good, we have enough water, we have enough capacity to generate for everyone's need. Our current capacity is standing around 3,600 megawatts. And then we have the national demand is standing around 2,300. But currently, our generation is only around the 1,600 nationally. So when we talk of nationally, it includes all the independent power producers as well, ZESCO and other independent power producers. So that's where now we have a deficit of about 700. That is how we are standing as of last month. And that is what triggered now to say, if we have this little water to run our generation for the rest of the year, it means we have to implement some mitigation measures. And one of the first mitigation measures is to manage the load through load shedding, where for certain number of hours in a day, we completely switch off power from people, and then they get to enjoy power for a certain number of hours in the day. So this exercise started on the 11th of March. We are just almost a month into that process of load shedding. And from the estimates, the forecast from the Zambezi River Authority, the waters are not increasing, they are decreasing slowly. But our projections are that if we manage the load shedding well, and we stick to the power balance that is being projected, this can run us with some electricity up to the end of the year, because we are not likely, or we don't foresee much impact in terms of any waters that are coming into the Kariba. We have some good waters, a bit of good waters in the Kafue basins, but still all added up all together, it's not sufficient enough to supply everyone with the needed electricity that we have in the country. So hence the load shedding that we're experiencing now.
Oh, great. So essentially, in layman's language, I mean, for people that are out of Zambia, so load shedding, from what I can understand from the ZESCO spokesperson, it's a process whereby our national utility company, just shuts down, power supply to residents and businesses for a number of hours. Um, is that what
So
I
it's
picked up?
shutting down power
Uh-huh.
in different areas at different times. So it's not
Okay.
that the nation is shut down at the same time. No. So
Oh,
we've
okay,
got
okay.
our customers are subdivided as residential areas. So for residential areas, their supply in different areas is cut off from say 6 hours, and then the next one may be 10 hours, the next one may be 14 hours. So it's a cycle throughout the day. So if
Oh,
this
great.
week my area is load shed, is cut off power from 6 hours to 10 hours
Uh-huh.
for this week, then the next week power is likely to be turned off maybe from 10 to the next number of hours. So in across the country, uh, we are implementing the 8 straight hour of load shedding, of cutting off power. So it means if power goes at 6, the areas we expect power to be back is 14 hours. That counts for the 8 hours for the day. But in some cases, like in Lusaka, because it will be interesting for you to note that the national grid, the electricity grid that we have in Zambia, is not designed for such activities, load management. So you find that a critical area, like a hospital, has some residential lines connected to it, or a residential area has a hospital within it. So typically, level 1 hospitals, that is those big hospitals with the theaters and everything like that, are subject to exemption from load shedding. But then we found ourselves in a situation where some of these hospitals were built right where there is a residential line, which is on load shedding. So you find that sometimes when you load shed the residential line, it gets also to affect some critical installations like hospitals, some businesses. Then in terms of businesses, most of the businesses, if not all of them, where you know this is a business area, even the line that goes there is isolated as a business line, we load shed those mostly in the evening hours for 8 straight hours, because for commercial entities, their preference is to have 8 straight hours of no power and 16 hours of power, as opposed to residents and small businesses who would want to have 4 hours in the morning, another 4 hours in the evening when they don't have power, so that they have just a few hours without power at a certain time. So this is what has been going on, and we started with a 4-hour staggered one last week in Lusaka. In some areas it has worked well, in some areas it hasn't worked well, in a sense that we've been experiencing delayed restoration of power for several other reasons, ranging from vandalism to instability in the power grid. So I find that when it is time to turn back power on, the national grid is not stable enough to absorb the new load that you'd want to bring on board. So it causes some more instability as the engineers are trying to balance that up. And sometimes you find that the transformer is gone, literally gone. Cables are gone through vandalism. So you turn off, you find some areas they still don't have power. So these are some of the things that we are doing, and we do review this process every week to look at what has worked and what has not worked. So for this week, the big question is, should Lusaka remain on a 4-hour staggered, where 4-hour staggered means 2 intervals of 4 hours without power, or should we revert to the 8 hours straight, no power? So I think we are having a meeting tomorrow and then see how we can resolve that. Possibly, we may end up even doing an external survey to look at what the general feeling of the community in Lusaka is.
Mm.
Oh, great. Now,
That's
I
good.
mean, go ahead, Vanessa. Go ahead.
Yeah, you've mentioned very vital points there, and at least you've answered a few questions that most people have. Now, of course, you're managing this supply of electricity in Zambia, and eh, have you changed? Because if you look at the grid, the Lusaka grid, the areas like you said yourself that the lines automatically it doesn't go because it's on the grid. But because certain homes and certain houses or institutions or hospitals are on that grid, have you guys modified it in a way that you can make sure that these are on, or the residential area is off and then the hospital is on? What have you been doing? And then secondly, my second question is, we've been relying on hydropower for a long time as ZESCO as a company. What other sources have you started to think of investing ZESCO money into other power sources aside from hydro? Has the company itself, ZESCO, start to think like, look, hydro cannot be the long-lasting solution for our country. Since you are the major electricity company in Zambia, have you started to think of other ways in which you can also supply electricity apart from hydro?
All right, thank you very much. So with your first question, it's work in progress in terms of isolating critical installations from residential lines or residential lines from business lines. So it's a process that is quite costly, but something that needs to be done, especially in areas where the population is very high. So I can give an example of an area called Minwood, Ibex. It was sitting on a line that connects to a medical installation where there are medical supplies, and that installation was is exempt from being load shed. But as of last week, we managed to isolate the medical installation so that the area like Minud Ibex, others call it Minud Chainda, they could also experience a fair share of load shedding, and then the line going to the medical facility remains isolated as is. So the process is quite difficult because you find that in a typical residential area, there comes a hospital. In a typical residential area, there comes these small and medium businesses that are doing a number of businesses. Some even extending their businesses to their backyard. They have a fence wall, and then they break the wall, they put a shop, they put a welding place, and then so it's quite complicated to isolate some of these places. But we have a project that was done through funding from the European Union, the Lusaka Transmission and Distribution Project, which aims at connecting especially high density areas to proper and safe electricity. Where, because one of the major problems also we're experiencing now is illegal connections, the effects and the impact of illegal connections are now showing up when we turn on and turn off, because the connections are bad and the system becomes even more and more unstable. So that is work in progress that we are undertaking and trying to isolate as much as we can. Even a place like Kawata, the Kawata market is a business area, but that market and the Kawata clinic, they sit on a residential line. So those are some of the things that are being identified, and trying to see how we can isolate them and how we can source funds to isolate them. Especially that this load shedding is not likely to end this year, unless by miracle we have so much rain that the generation capacity can be increased. Then coming to your second question, it's been a long time realization that reliance on hydropower will one day catch up with us. So from the time the corporate leadership team came into office, that is late 2021 into 2022, there was developed a 10-year strategic plan to look at how to diversify in terms of energy sources. But these things are quite, they can take time. But there are a number, I'm aware of at least 15 projects that are on board with areas that have been identified for solar power generation across the country. And then there are also some talks and discussions on how also to manage other sources of energy that can be. One of the subsidiaries for ZESCO, that is the Kariba North Bank Extension Power Company, actually in February, did groundbreaking for a 200 megawatt solar plant. So the first phase of the 100 megawatt is hoped to be online within 10 months. That will be sometime early next year, and also other grids that have been planned for, and also to look at Southern Province. The rainfall pattern has been very bad in Southern Province, but up north is still hydro. But up north, the water situation is quite good, though the landscape is not so good for hydropower. But there are some ability to look at how to harness that water where we can capture even about 700 megawatts of water. So that is in the process, and in the short term, in the medium term, we've got solar projects, and in the longer term, to diversify power generation to other parts of the country which have better water, and also to look at other feasible sources of energy that we can have as a company, and also working with the independent power producers. But also that depends on one of the things that hasn't attracted independent power producers that much is that the cost of electricity in Zambia in terms of retail is not that attractive because the tariffs are pretty low. So last year, the Energy Regulation Board, which regulates the energy sector, did approve a 5-year multi-tariff plan. So meaning in 5 to 6 or 7 years, the tariff should be able to reflect a good commercial value. And once that is the case, it means we may attract even more investment into the energy or electricity sector. So what that simply means is that with a 5-year multi-tariff plan, is that tariffs, if approved by the ERB year by year, will gradually and slowly be increased to reach a stage which can be said to be commercially viable. Because at the moment, the tariffs are not commercially viable. So if it's a private entity that comes in, they would not make money. They will be at a loss. So hopefully that within the next few years, the tariffs that people buying electricity at will be something that will be of commercial value, that those that come in can make a return on their investments. So those plans are actually underway, and we hope that we can achieve as much as we can within the shortest possible time.
So you're saying out of all these projects, you've only mentioned is it 100 megawatts project that's
No,
going to
there
be
are
open
others
soon?
also which are by independent power producers. So I only mentioned the one which is directly under us, but we have others by independent power producers in Serenge. We also have something coming up in Shangombo and a few other places across the country. So in total, we've got about 15. So those are dependent on how quickly they secure funding. So in terms of agreements between ZESCO and those independent power producers, the agreements are there. But then the biggest stage that follows is them securing enough funds for them to do those projects. So I know of about 15 dotted across the
So
country.
you as the company as ZESCO, you don't have a major plan for just as ZESCO itself, maybe to go into a wind or solar or maybe nuclear energy investment as a company. Like, are you thinking on those terms? Like, are you really, are you just going to rely on hydro for for the rest of the company's life, or as a company itself? What I'm trying to say is,
as a company itself, we are looking at reducing dependence on hydro to 50%, and then explore alternatives that can mark up the rest of the percentage. So at the moment we are standing at about 87%. So we'd want to reduce the dependence on hydro to about 50%. So that means that we as ZESCO are also exploring ways and means to harvest the alternative power sources that we can do within the next couple of years.
All right, great. What a mouthful there. But, in the same vein, we had Mr. Tetrix Mono, who unfortunately had to run off here, waiting for you, Mr. Matongo. He is claiming, and these are other claims that we're getting from members of the public, that you guys, I mean, you are over, just doing it overload shedding, to say the least. Like, because you've given people these schedules, right, where you're saying you're loading off 4 hours here, between, for example, 5 and 9, and then here between 18 and 22. Your customers are complaining that your hours are going from 5, in some cases, to 5, and then 2 hours later you're shutting them off again. And I know you try to explain in terms of engineering issues and here and there, but people want to be assured. They want you to stick to the, if you say it's 4 hours, let it be 4 hours, because they have things to do. What assurances do you have for your customers who are complaining? Like Mr. Mono, he just came on here and said, look, I wanted to listen to the podcast, but Zesco just shut me off outside our schedule.
I'm also off, by the way. It's not just Mr. Mono. I'm also off.
Yeah, that's what I
I
told him. Go
don't
ahead.
get preferential treatment. So in terms of giving 100% assurance, that would be over ambitious, especially when you're dealing with things like electricity, because you have unexpected technical faults. That's just a reality. It's not that ZESCO wants to keep people off, because the more we keep people off, the more revenue also would not take it as a pride to lose resources just because we want to turn people off. So last week was when we started the 4-hour thing. In a few areas, it has not worked well, and in the majority of areas, it has worked well. So it's not that everyone is not happy with it. There are some that are very happy with it. Today, I just took a drive as I was having my beard trimmed, just to a couple of places I went around. They're happy with the 4 hours, and in their areas, they are maybe experiencing delays of maybe 20, 30 minutes. They say the maximum of 1 hour, they know power is back, and they already have like cordless clippers, so that those that want to have their hair cut and shaved or beards shaved, they can be serviced even when there's no power. So what we are experiencing is an overload. So when there is when we experience some overloads in certain areas, we would not, the National Control Center would not turn back power on immediately, because that would be more disastrous than having the power on. So in that process of trying to create a stability in the grid, that's where now there are those a bit of delays. And in some instances, you find that load shedding gets to meet with a fault. And then now people don't get to report, because they are assuming that ZESCO is load shedding. They don't get to report that, no, power is supposed to be back at 14 hours. This is 15:30. There's still no power. And then you find that those that have reported, we've actually discovered that there are technical faults that would have occurred at the time when there was load shedding. And then it requires the immediate attention from our technical team. So these, we hope that will have reduced complaints in this coming week. Last week, yes, there were quite some complaints around that, but we hope that our aim is to keep power as much as possible, because we need the money at the end of the day also to run the service. But we do acknowledge that we did have some areas which were complaining that the hours were longer, which was the case indeed. Because if, say, you are not shed for 4 hours, but it has become 5 hours, the next time instead of 4 hours, 5 hours, that will be about 10 hours instead of the 8 hours that is the requirement that we have set so far. So we haven't increased the number of load shedding hours. When the time to increase comes, we will announce the same way we did announce the start of load shedding and everything else. So we want to keep our communication as transparent as possible, but also bearing in mind the unforeseen technical challenges that we experienced, especially last week. But if you look at the other places of the country, like Central Province, I think they are managing their load quite well. They haven't received much complaints. But Lusaka, Copper Belt, that's where you receive quite a number of...
And Livingston, too.
Yes.
I'm just telling you where the...
Livingston, not so much. A few pockets here and there, yes.
Okay.
A few pockets here and here, but we know Lusaka and the Copper Belt.
Oh, great. All right. Well, I will open the discussion. I mean, I know you're in a tight spot there, but it's rare that we have people from quasi government, coming on here and telling us, or just shedding more light to our viewers on really what's going on the ground. So let me open up a few, people that want to ask questions on this, but maybe before they come in, I have one tiny little question. Okay, so and my question is to you is that if I got you right, Zesco as of now you produce if everything is all equal, the rains are there and everything is good, you produce about 3 million. Did I hear that correct? And now you have a deficit of how much? 1.8, 1.6. Did I get that correct, Loam? I'm throwing numbers in tandem here. Are you there, Matongo? Can you hear me? Hello? Did we lose him? Okay, I think we lost him. All right, we move on. He's back. All right, Matongo, thank you for coming back.
Sorry, I don't know where I pressed the chat disappeared.
All right, so I think before I bring in everybody else that want to ask questions, I have one more question. In your I would say 10-year plan of Zesco, here's the way I look at it. We have how many? 20 million Zambians right now. Million Zambians, depending on your on electricity. Do you have a projection, say like in 5 years, when the population is about 25 million people? I could be, overstretching the truth here. And this is what our projection of Zesco, electricity, units are going to be. That way, we don't have these gaps in between. Like, I'm sorry, but I have to go back to where we're coming from. Before the new dawn opened this, what is this, Kafue Gorge, and I'm being reminded here by the former PF. I shouldn't call him the former PF. I apologize. PF Chandakasi. All right, he's reminding me. He's saying first of all, he wants to know, what's the status of Itezi and Kafue Lower, and how much power is being exported, because again, our PF colleagues believe that all this load shedding is because of the fact that Zambia is exporting power to neighboring countries. But while you answer that, I come back to my question. Do we have a projection of what the next 5 years in terms of generation of power will look like, and the needs of the population? Let me simplify the question that way.
So the population of Zambia has been increasing. Even the customer base has also been increasing in the last couple of years. And it is definitely going to continue increasing. So the strategic plan that we have is 10 years, running from 2022 up to 2031. So within that strategic plan is also looking at increasing the generation base for electricity to be able to cater for everyone, and also the expected increase in terms of population and also business growth that we have. I may not have the specific figure. That's what I wanted to check when I accidentally booted myself out in terms of the specific figures. But there is that indication of the plan is rolling once we achieve this. So by 2030, if I have the figures correctly, we are looking at also having connectivity of about at least 60% of Zambians with access to electricity. Currently, it stands around 40 or so percent. So we're looking at increasing it by about 20% within the next couple of years. So this means also the generation capacity has to increase. Even the grid has also to be improved, because we are basically looking at a similar kind of national electricity grid where we had a population or customer base of 500,000, and now we are standing at over 1.3 million, and the electricity grid is quite similar. So meaning it is taking in quite a lot, and then we have a lot of maintenance issues that would come up here and there. So once the tariffs become more cost reflective, and then we're able to make good profit, it means we can easily now reinvest and improve our generation, distribution, and transmission, and manage the sector quite well. So I'm trying to avoid putting the specifics because I don't have the document at hand. Otherwise, I'll boot myself out when I try to search again.
Okay. Well, we'll bring you back since we have a relationship, because there are other things that we need to talk about. You're talking about increasing, connectivities. I mean, we have complaints about people that are paying so much money to get power added onto their homes. It's taking years. So those are questions that keep popping up. So probably that's another topic for another day, because this is an hour show. We try to move along, but before we let you go, let me bring in a few people here that I know are raising their hands, and I have a surprise here for you. He probably taught you at Canisius. I will start with Valentine, the deep thinker here. He has a question for you, and then we'll go to Mr. Patrick Milaso, Lady Sarah. They may have a comment, and Masiliso, and then Bakalapa and Bachilufia. In that order, let's go.
Matongo, is it Mr. Matonga? Sorry, I missed the introductions.
So I'm Matongo Maumbi. By Mr. I go with Maumbi, but otherwise commonly known as Matongo.
Maumbi, take for instance, you make 15 trillion kwacha in the next 2 years. How are you going to use that money to expand services to the people? What are you planning as a company? And I'm asking that because I've seen a lot of councils, and I might be wrong, a lot of councils, because of the deficiency in the supply of water to the people have resorted into boreholes, which is costing the councils a lot of money. So what are you going to invest that money in so that you do not lose profits to alternative ways of getting electricity?
So one of the things that was introduced with this new leadership is renewable energy. So that has become one of the biggest things that is being explored, ZESCO. So there's now actually a unit that is looking at renewable energy to harness that and look at what are the trends that are happening in the country. You talk of maybe even simple issues as heating water or cooling houses. So those are some of the things that are being explored to look at, say, okay, the consumption of electricity for people is this way, and then we can't continue doing the traditional way of providing electricity. So if people are moving into solar, and then you look at how do we now support this solar kind of powering in the houses. So I remember we had a discussion also. These are still at the early stage, where exploring ways of partnering with companies that are good in solar, and to look at how even to change even just a simple thing as a geyser, instead of having those big geysers on top of the roofs, but also that can work still with the national grid, but still have a component of efficient energy in terms of heating up the water in the house, also cooling the houses, and also so basically, we are looking at energy efficient appliances that we can explore in partnership with others, and also working with subsidiaries under ZESCO. But as you may be aware, ZESCO has quite a number of subsidiaries that support in terms of other kinds of production in the energy sector. So it is to move forward with the consumption habits of the consumers, our customers, and then be also on the top of the game to ensure that we remain the #1 power producer, power supplier in the country, and also in the region.
So just two additional questions, Madam Moderator, if I may. One, for the people in Shigatende that are listening, where the moderator comes from, what is renewable energy? And the second part to that is ZESCO and the government thinking about moving towards nuclear power? Because with the mines now coming up like this, they will need every source of energy they can get.
So in terms of nuclear energy, there's been a lot of debate, and the debates are still going on. We have a section of the society which does not believe in nuclear energy because they say it's a danger to society if left in the wrong hands. And there's a section which says no, nuclear energy, we need it because we've got the natural resources for that, instead of continuously exporting or being exploited on that. So that discussion is going on. It has not been concluded. Same with other sources of energy. So when you look at our people out there in the community, when you look at renewable energy, the kind of energy which you can harness dependent on, like for solar, we are looking at harnessing that power through solar and solar light, Izuba, because you mentioned my village. I'll say Izuba, the sunlight, and then you store it, and then you can simply have that power stored or use it live when you have sunlight. Is being experimented through a different project, not related to ZESCO or anything, where they have solar hammer mills, where they're able to use electricity generated through solar, and then they do their mini mill in different parts of the country. Thank you.
Great. Let's move it along to Mr. Patrick Miller. So you got a question for our ZESCO spokesman, Mr. Matongo Maombi. You may have to unmute yourself, or let me try to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, moderator. Mr. Matongo, my name is Patrick Milas. I'm based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There's so much with ZESCO and government. It's taken so long. I've traveled a little bit, you know. I think Africa is the only place where I've seen there's so much load shedding. I mean, I've been to the Far East, I've been to the Middle East, I'm here, I've been to Europe. I don't see that. I think we need to come up with better ways of servicing the people. I know we had problems under this. We had problems with ZESCO under PS, but now I can see there's a little bit of improvement here and there. But my question to you is, would you think of tapping water from the Atlantic and Indian Ocean into Zambezi and then to the dams?
To be honest, I don't think I've come across that conversation. But looking at that the northern region of this country has continuously stable water even in times of drought because of the water basin that we have around the DRC and the northern part of this country. That's where the discussion is moving into. But in terms of tapping waters from the ocean, that conversation I've not heard about it, so I don't have much information to comment on that. But the realization within the organization is that reliance on hydropower and also not just hydropower, reliance of hydropower, and much of it, if not all of it, is in the southern province, is something that is no longer sustainable. So there are feasibility that are being proposed for the northern region of the country, especially in Wapula, which has also very good water bodies, and see how we can harness the waters that are there in terms of increasing the generation capacity. And also, like I said earlier, to reduce the dependence to about 50%, and then look at also how we can harness thermal, solar, or even nuclear energy in the other 50%.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Moving on along. Lady Sarah, you have a comment or a question to our able spokesperson here from ZESCO.
Okay, yeah. Muli buti bamatongo.
Dawa tukasia buti.
Kangawa. Yeah, you know this ZESCO thing. Tuwafika Nkulanda. Number one, like Patrick has said, we don't see this load shedding in these other countries. What is it that they've done? You people in ZESCO, have you ever asked the Americans how they manage their whatever, their power? Number two, this selling of ZESCO, whatever, power to other countries, like exporting. My question is, why do you export? It's like you leave a child hungry, you give the neighbor the food. That's my question. I want clarification on that one. Why does the government export power and then people in Zambia are suffering? Thank you.
So thanks very much. In terms of best lessons, we are doing our best to try to learn from other countries on how they are managing. But the common feature is that reliance on hydropower is not that much. So alternative sources of energy, and also relaxing the rules around the independent power producers as well, is also something that is working. So some regulations may need to be relaxed even here in Zambia, and to reduce on the bureaucratic processes that are there in terms of setting up power plants, because it's quite difficult to buy power in Zambia if the megawatts, I think, are about 5 or below. So those are some of the things that are being proposed, that the rules around there should be relaxed, so that as many people as possible, because we have some independent people that have got solar plants and things like that, and then they can easily sell off excess power that they have. But because of some regulations, it's quite difficult for them to sell power to ZESCO and for ZESCO to buy power from them. So it's an issue of heavy reliance on one major source of energy, as opposed to diversifying to a lot of sources of energy. Then on your second question, in terms of power exports, the power exports are a necessity because, for one, they started before the disaster struck in, which because now we know it's a disaster, it's a national disaster that has been declared. So those agreements were already enforced, and what we have in those agreements is that we can reduce the power that we're exporting, so that they remain with a lifeline kind of power to support their critical services as well. Because the example you gave, if I have a child and we have hunger in our family, and then the next house, they are also hungry and they have no food, it's no harm to share the little that we have, because the time they'll have excess, they'll share also, and we keep supporting each other. So, but for the exports that we have, we've actually reduced the amount of power that we're exporting, so that they just remain with lifeline support. And then the same exports are very commercially viable. We sell at quite a good rate, and then that also gets to support our operations here in Zambia, because the price that the consumers in Zambia, the customers have pay in Zambia, is very low. So meaning we are not getting a return on the investments that is there. So those commercial dealings from exports, they in some way help to subsidize the local consumers, especially the residential customers, to be able to buy the electricity at that rate. So once we reach the multi-year tariff plan, once that is completely absorbed in the next couple of years, then exports will be there, but will not be much of a factor, because internally we will be able to generate enough revenue to manage the operations of the corporation. Thank you.
Oh, great. Moving on along. Masiliso Mulemwa, do you want to come in and ask our spokesperson here? You have a comment or a question?
Good evening, moderator. No, actually, my question has already been tackled. It was on the possibility of using nuclear power in Zambia to generate electricity. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Masili. So we move on to Mr. Kalapa. Mr. Kalapa. Okay, but Kalapa is still nursing that Manchester United draw. Okay, we move on. Back to Lufia. Yeah, back to Lufia. You
Please don't bring money.
Manchester United now, but
all right. Since you started on Manchester United,
if
I may,
we just win. We don't question people. We don't do it. To win a fear, 3 goals, Mwatwa win. Anyway,
okay.
we'll talk about this at the end of the program.
I have a comment to the ZESCO rep Zamatonga.
Go ahead. No, let's let Lufia say something before you come on. I know he's your former pupil, but please. Yeah,
yes.
I know. We know it. No, everybody knows. Right, Lufia, come in one day.
Yes. All these issues that we've been discussing, it's what Zambian people want to hear, and they want to find solutions. And if ZESCO itself, as a company, often at landed, and even in the first place, I was like, look, what's the long-term plan for ZESCO as a company? Are we just going to rely on hydro? Are we going to diversify? Okay, and it's more. You didn't give us a definite answer, and what projects you're doing in terms of diversifying, in terms of you've talked about the northern sector. Of course, we know the northern sector is one of the richest areas where you can invest heavily as ZESCO as a company and not make any losses. Now, because you're saying AMA rates that you're charging the Zambian people are lower than everybody else, but look, are you simply saying that you want to be charging more than what people are paying? No. What you need to do as a company is diversify your energy portfolio. Once you do that, then you start making profits. Okay? You cannot just depend on hydro. If you have enough for Charlie since the 60s. Okay? It cannot just be like that. We have to think of the next 100 years. So we need to start thinking on our toes and see how we can at least start producing power. Hydro is a thing of the past. We need to look at other. We need to look at solar. We have started, but look at if you go to. I lived in Livingstone for years. Livingstone, it is the hottest place in Zambia. Ngatawakwata fridge mu Livingstone in Katwish. You see, you can go there. You set up a plant. Go to Eastern Province. Set up a plant. That's what all these other big commercial energy supplying companies are doing. They're setting up energy plants in terms of solar and stuff like that. Now, nuclear is one or another thing. People have been saying, okay, because of in terms of how we're gonna manage it, it's really really secure? But we know that we have the material in the country. Pachongwe parapeni, you know, uranium was discovered there, and there was issues and talks of building that, but it died on. So we need to revisit all these things. Okay, if you don't want to go to through, using the nuclear in terms of using our resource, which is uranium, let's use what we have that is safest in terms of solar. And instead of wind, go to Denmark. Denmark has the largest wind energy through the wind. They use the windmills. Kulu, they built strategic areas. Just using the wind itself, they generate power. So let's look at those. That's ZESCO. Let's start thinking forward. That's my that's what I can say for now.
Oh, great.
Thank you very much. I'm sure for the next program, I'll have the greater details that will bring a bit of assurances in terms of what is being planned in the next couple of years.
That's what we want to hear, Matongo. That's what we want to hear. And I really appreciate you coming on here and just highlighting. I know I called you last minute, but before you go, your former teacher here, Valentine, has something to say. Deep thinker, go ahead. Valentine.
Ramatonga worked alongside Father Voda. Now, the comment I wanted to make is that before Mandela came out of prison to become president, one of the issues that was really, really confusing the world was the nuclear issue. It was trusted in the hands of the white people, but when a black person was coming in, they had to cut that nuclear program. Now, fast forward 30 years later, South Africa, one of the giants of Africa economically, has load shedding. So we do know that most of the Western world, they have nuclear power, whether for good or for bad. But they don't have short load shedding because that supply of power through that nuclear initiative is constant. Now, if we are going to develop as a country, because the load shedding is killing small businesses. So we need to market and convince the people that everybody else around us might be developing nuclear power, whether for good or for bad. And we are a landlocked country that doesn't have the capacity for nuclear power. That's just my advice to ZESCO, that you and the government need to look into nuclear power seriously. I yield.
Great.
Thank you very much for that.
Go ahead, Matongo. Go ahead, Matongo. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if I disappear now, just know that my battery is kaput.
No, we understand. We understand, and I'll be in touch.
Yeah, but at least the discussions on nuclear are ongoing, and we hope that now that people have experienced this load shedding, it is not nice at all. Load shedding is not nice at all. So here we are. We are hoping that power will be restored in the next 1.5 hours. When we have the capacity as a country to diversify and indeed harness various sources of energy, so that we don't have a problem and people can be using electricity as and when they would want to. So we hope that with the leadership, that the leadership doesn't get swayed and that they get to achieve what they need to achieve within the strategic plan that has been formulated, that started running in 2022 up to 2031, and it gets to be reviewed every year to look at the successes, lessons learned, and how we can adapt going forward. So it's not something that is just stagnant, but it's a rolling strategic plan, so that we are also in tune with what is happening globally, so that we ensure that we serve our customers with efficient, reliable, and safe electricity anytime they want to use that. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. We appreciate you coming on here, and until we have you next time, we continue talking. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh. All right. Now we move on to our. Is somebody saying something? All right. Now we move on to the rest of the discussion. Shall we, Bachelor? What was our next topic? Our favorite topic of every day.
Katrafika kurant, not yet.
Okay, all right. I'm not correct. I guess let's go to Yuka. Uka. You. I mean, what should I even say? Is it Yuka or Uka? What is it?
I think ukwa. I think it's ukwa. I think ukwa. I think it's ukwa. I think it's ukwa. I think.
Ukwa.
But because it's more like a comedy show.
Oh,
to be honest.
Definitely a comedy. Yeah,
and we all know who Ukwa is. It's comedy. It's all about Abantu. They don't understand one thing. Zambian politics have advanced at a level that they cannot catch up to.
Tell them.
They're trying to come in and tell the Zambian people that they would do something better. The Zambian people are looking at them like, are you crazy? What we have right now is the best government that we've never had in the last, I don't know, one. So then, because of that, because they were empowered once, and we know Ukwa it's a PF run organization. And within the PF themselves, they don't even trust themselves. They don't trust each other. So how are you going to come up with a leader? Okay? So all these things, us outside looking in, we're like, Abantu. They want to come out to say they're the solution for the next government. What have you given the Zambian people? Or what policies are you telling us? What you're going to do? Nobody's telling us. But it's about, I feel they're just condemning the UPND and stuff like that. What solutions? People want to listen to solutions, alternatives, real checks and balances. Not if you have if you no. Real checks and balances. They don't have. I'm sorry to say this, but that's I don't know.
You know what? I wish we had our only PF. I wish we had our only aligned PF. Sympathize. Where is our resident PS Machanda Kazia?
Oh, we can always invite him. He can come.
No, I mean, Mr. Kazia
he's always up for discussions. He's always up for discussions.
He's commenting on here, but I said Bakazia, here's the link. Join in. I don't know where he is.
Well, he's scared. He doesn't want to listen to the truth. You see,
he said you have not invited, but I posted the link. What kind of invitation, Bakazia? I have not been invited, to put things in context. Maybe
he wanted some topics.
Link just joining. Bakazia, it's a link right here. Just join. Apaka link Bakazia posted. I pasted on discussion.
It's
Just
always up. It's
join.
always up for a good talk.
But if
Ah.
now he's bringing PF politics. I've been giving him Mama links up. Anyway, so this week we had who is this? Sakwiba Scott. He's such a disappointment. He is such a disappointment. He said, "No, who told you that Mr. Lungu is going to be the president?" Uh, and then now they are fighting press wars with the general secretary, Lucky Mulusa. So who is going to lead? Now, of course, if the secretary general also said, no, it's actually a party. They are losing me because they started off as a movement. Now they are going towards the party. So which is which about Uka? Anyway, let's bring in maybe this fresh perspective because we know what the deep thinker is going to say. Let's bring in a fresh perspective in Mr. Masiliso Mlemwa. You have a comment on Uka?
I'll just call it, moderator, I'll just call it a circus. Well, is it just a matter of just wanting to have many political parties? I mean, as someone has said, I think the level of governance now is a different ballgame altogether. It's not the time for jokes now. It's time for serious business. And I think we're in safe hands. Thank you.
But you know, Kazi had sent him the link in WhatsApp because.
Oh, you sent it to him?
No,
What?
at you send it to him because I'm sending him on these comments. He's saying he's not getting it. So,
Okay, go on, then continue. Let me. I'll be off online for a little minute.
Okay, all right. So, all right, there we go. And now we have who is this? Oh, well, Mr. Chilo Mwembela. Welcome to Bantu TV. Please tell us where you're joining us from and your comment on what I call the Uka Sekas. Who is going to lead them to the next, to the promised land? I guess that would be my question.
So thank you so much. And I'm just like trying to comment on one of the listed items on the promises for the Balose.
Oh, we are coming on. That one is a hot one. We are coming on to that one. Right now we are on Ukwa.
No, sorry, for Ukwa, I think at the moment I don't have so much comments.
Okay, all right.
Because I look at it as like some club institution without direction, with confused people, and I don't even know who can be a leader because the no leadership in there. That's the comment I make here. Thank you. I'll join you later.
And where are you joining us from, Mr. Mwembela?
Just from Lusaka, Zambia.
Oh, welcome. All right. Mr. Milaso, I see you are driving. You want to comment on Uka?
The moderator, that party, I would classify it as a party of revenge. If you look at everybody in there, they're just there to pay revenge on His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, because we win Sikwira, he was beaten there, Kuyupnd, he left bitterly. Avene Kalaba, Edgar Lungu, they just want to revenge and they don't have any chance. And besides, Lungu has got no chance. He can't be on the ballot paper because, that's what the Constitution says. So I don't know what he's doing. He's supposed to be resting and eating his stolen money, but he's just a confused bunch of a man, that one. That's all I can say about those people.
All right, we move on to Lady Sarah. Lady Sarah, please come in.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Those people people Bauka. Like Patrick, I'm always following what Patrick is saying. The revenge, bad follower, you know. But he said that when he was asked by one of the journalists to say, "Do you think a Tonga man can lead Zambia?" He laughed, like a comedy laughter, and he said, "Oh, I know Tonga man. Yes, yes." He realized that he cannot say that no. Then he said, "Yes, but not this one," meaning Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Now Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is the president and he's Tonga, bali fulwa, you know. They have ngabadi Nindoshi, ngabadi balawa ba HH. It's a bunch of, the clique of thieves.
All right, we move on to my lousy husband who just joined us.
Hello, my dear.
My lousy husband, Dr. Johnny. Welcome.
I'm sorry I've been on the road and I couldn't join earlier on, and I've just parked by the roadside just to say hello to my people. I unfortunately have to start off again. I'm on a very long drive.
No, we understand. We appreciate the dedication.
I just wanted to say hello and goodbye. Please, I can't participate.
Thank you, Danny.
All right, Dr. Dan. All right, we move on.
We are crossing borders. We are going very far away.
Okay, that boy got to bless some kuntandalila.
Papa St. Catherine. Yeah, Papa St. Catherine in 25 minutes. If you about 9-10 hours drive.
Okay.
Okay. So, bye everyone. Next week, I promise I'll be part of the group. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
great.
All right.
Okay, big man.
All right. We move on to the deep thinker.
Well, I don't have much to say about Tuuka and PF other than let's not underestimate their ability to cause confusion in the country and to sabotage everything that we're doing.
Right.
Let's not ignore that part because they have the ability to convince the people that are sitting on the fence that there's no development coming, there's a hunger, you are hungry, because they're looking at the moment. UPND is looking at the moment and in the future. So the future of our children is being looked at as UPND makes decisions. But the opposition is looking at right now, what are you going to eat today? So in short, they are short-sighted. I yield.
All right, great. You have something to add on Ukwa, or should we move on to the next?
Yeah, let's move on. I think Ukwa is not really a big, they're not a big deal, to be honest. It's just a party that's full of confusion, and let them see themselves and let the party crumble within itself, because they always want to blame the UPND for everything that's going wrong, and they'll only fail because they've not done anything right. So let them just crumble, and they'll just sit back and watch them crumble. They're fighting for power. This one wants to be president. This one doesn't want to be president. This one, who knows? But at the end of the day, the Zambian people will not vote. No matter how much you want to mask yourselves, the Zambian people will not vote for the same failures that failed the people. They know that Abantu, they failed us. And the UPND government came up with better policies, better economic agendas. Despite all these things that's happening, if you what drought and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, the Zambian people they mean well for the country. And everybody, I was shocked. I was looking at the last recruitment. It's a very youthful recruitment. You can imagine all those youth being recruited.
Yeah.
You see? And so to me, I'm like, look, the future is in the hands of the youth. And if you can employ, over 1,000 youth, but in the next 10, 20 years, those youth will be appreciating. They'll come and say, look, President HH gave me a job.
Yes.
Come on. That's all I say for now.
Well, I mean, great insights there. I think for me, I only have two things to add on to that. And sometimes I like to think outside the box. I lose myself while I do that. But first things first, let me borrow our able Home Affairs Minister's words. And I'm going to say, Ukwa, as we say in Tonga, Jihunyas. Jihunyas are those small little ants who will, they will eat everything else, and then in the end, they even eat themselves up. So that's what I describe.
Jibunya.
They are Jihunyas.
Jibunya.
Yes, that's what I describe Uka. Now, two, I think it's something that you guys always say. No, let's not pay attention to him, but I am forever paying attention to Fatali and his shenanigans. He's in Singapore. I mean, that's a man that has never held a job in his life, not even a business. How he found himself in Singapore, nobody knows. My only interest in highlighting that, and I'm going to say this, I could be wrong or not. Who is funding Chief movement
We
and
all know.
stay
We,
in
we all
Singapore?
know. We all know. We all know.
Yeah? And
Oh, yeah.
what is he doing in Singapore? Isn't he there to probably meet up? Whose people he was supposed. The man our former president who was stopped at the airport, who said he was going to Korea, and then it ended up that he was going to meet some businessmen in Singapore. Haven't they sent now to Fatali to do
Yeah.
that?
Tali was saying, even in the past, he used to say that they used to send me for special duties.
Uh-huh.
So it
Yeah.
has been, it's been their whatever this the worker for a long time, Mama. And they know, like, even in there's no extradition treaty between Zambia and Singapore, so he can do and say whatever he wants while he's there. We cannot bring him back because there's no that extradition treaty. So really change it up, and they know because they deposited a lot of Indalama bags in different areas, different countries. They're in different places, different areas. So if they can send him to say, go and keep that for us, and then when we need it in 2026, we can always reclaim it. These people, Abantu, they are really, really. They think they're clever, but we've already seen what they're doing.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, that's why we need to be talking about these things, just in case they think we don't know what's up. We do. We do. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic. Police this past weekend or this week did flag off GBM San at KK International Airport as he was coming from South Africa. Uh, uh, I think the question for me there is really, aren't our police using a bit too excessive? Why?
It depends on what the reason. What was the reason? Like, they stopped him, and then obviously he was coming from South Africa, and he was by international airport. He was stopped and questioned, and obviously taken into custody. What is the case? What we need to understand is why. Yeah,
Nobody's
GBM.
saying anything because apparently the police or the HCC were not even aware. That's what they claim.
I know. Well, he can say that. He can say that, but obviously, like, there's certain investigations that happened Kubagra, and for you to be stopped. Obviously, they've been investigating for months. So just like HH said, don't arrest anybody before doing investigations. So obviously they've been investigating. That means there's something there. Mwabona. So what we need to see is that okay, uh, he's GBM's son. We all know who GBM is. He was one of the big wigs, and he was once in the UPND. He was in the PF. He left. He came back. He went into UPND and went back to the PF. So what's going on here? And we all know like anyway. I don't even going to go deep. I don't think.
Go there, my child. I'm
I'm not going to go there because
Go there.
is it still which one is it? One of his sons. Which one is it? Is it Chile?
I think
Which
his
one is it?
last Muma.
Muma. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. I know a little bit about you, but anyway. So we need to really understand if a GBM of Obama is a political figure, is a big wig and everything. So whatever happens, if you're running, that's why if I was a politician, or if I had kids, I would tell them stay away from politics. Do your thing. Don't come into politics. And if you want to get your businesses running and everything, don't involve politics because once you start doing that and attaching politics with your business and using your father's name, then you become subjected to all these kind of things. Because if you're really a real independent individual that don't rely on your father and your father's name, why would the police come to you and ask you a question? We need to figure out why. Why? Change it. Bamwe.
Well, deep thoughts there. Let's bring in let's bring in deep thinker and then Lady Sarah and Miss Milaso to talk about this or say one or two words. Let's start with you, deep think.
Okay, I don't know the circumstances under which the young man was arrested, was questioned. But what I do know in this world is people can play games all day long until you touch on their money in their family. Those two things, once you touch them, the real people will come out. So let's wait and see who the real GBM, what the real GBM, who's going to come out after this. So I'm just waiting and following. I yield.
Oh, great. All right. And our PS Bachilusia is saying there are always two sides to a coin. Why aren't you here? I mean, our resident PS, why aren't you here? We're giving you AMA links. Anyway, Mr. Milasa, you want to come in on that?
Yeah, the only thing I remember was he was charged. I think I don't know whether it's him that he was involved in this proceed of crimes, some properties or whatever. I don't know whether it's him. That's all I can think of.
Okay, yeah, well, solid ground there. But Lady Sarah, you want to comment on the flagging off or the brief detention of GBM's son at KK International Airport yesterday? Lady Sarah?
I'm talking, yes. You can't hear me?
Now we can.
You can, okay. What I can say is that when you are a human being, it doesn't matter whether you are a son to GBM or you are a son to whoever your father is. If you are in the wrong, the police will question you. There are no untouchables on this earth. So namutwa mwana waba akainde ishile The police, they have to ask. They have to, to ask and, probe. So this young man was just being probed. So if you're going to a GBM, as long as he's a Zambian and the police, they see it right to talk to him and ask him, it's correct. So whether let's say thank you.
That's very true.
What about if GBM is using this flagging off of his son at the airport to avoid his his upcoming court appearance? Is it this week on all the charges he has against him? I'm thinking that's the only plausible. I mean, because these PF guys, they come up with all kinds of stuff and then they post them on media, on social media, and they make it look so huge to a point where some of us just start pulling our hair from our ears and everywhere else because it doesn't make sense. And then also we also have a problem where here he
Finally.
is. Finally.
Watching two same things, they're not giving me a link, and he knows how I get the link.
That exclusive bit that to be nama link tamulishana na respond katuji na muchinja mafoni.
No, even them on the phone, even good to my WhatsApp. My phone is developing, even to our downloads and stuff like that. So I'm doing it, yeah. So if you send on my WhatsApp link, it's one time, and I've been
okay.
Because I've been sending multiple.
Yes, I tried it just didn't just work until he sent to my WhatsApp line.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
All right. Okay, then. Now we know what to do. We know what to do. Yeah. So we definitely will bring in the Zesco spokesperson for you.
Yeah, I was listening to him. Yes, I've been listening from the start. I've been.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Anyway, since you are joining us in the middle, we are almost coming to the end. I would like to talk about the recent flagging off of GPM's son at the airport. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, like my other friend has said, when there's a crime, it has to be investigated, regardless of who commits it. For me, that is where it is, and that is my stance on that. So it's a question of where they suspect it, they go through it, they check. If there's nothing, they move on. If there's something, let the person go to court. And the only thing is that must be done across any citizen. Doesn't matter who it is. If the only concern comes at when it is just others, people see crime and then nothing happens. That's where the concerns come. But if it is they're investigating, we must allow the police to do the investigation and then they finish it up. That is my comment on that.
Don't we just love our resident PS music to my ears? All right then. Now the most sad trending story that came up this week was last week we I think we briefly touched on it. Father Bewe out of Ndola was preaching. To me, I thought it was a good message that everybody that needs to listen in, where he was complaining about, the high food prices, load shedding, and all that. And now, as of yesterday, we hear the police issued a call out. Now, this is an allegation. The police they haven't come out. It's just an allegation, and of course, our lovely able-bodied PF media picked this up and blown it out of proportion. But your thoughts on Father Bewe's alleged police call out of Ndola?
To me, what I think is this. Personally, I love the Catholic. I'm Catholic since birth, but some of these things, I think, let's leave politicians, okay? And let's leave church things to the preachers. Let's try to differentiate, okay? Me, if I want to go to my pastor or my father and get some advice. It should be, a whole thing. Like it shouldn't be where somebody is maybe politically aligned, is thinking about politics. No, no, no. People in church don't want to hear or don't want to listen to politics. People go to church to listen to the word of God. I think that's where everything is being messed up now. Because now every preacher and every father wants to be a politician. Why don't you remove the robe and come into politics? Other than you want to start preaching politics in your church. I personally, I don't believe in that, and I don't appreciate that, because that's why people, they wake up in the morning, they will say, I want to go to church today, I want to go listen to some good news. What are they? That good news. When I go to church, you start listening to good news. You don't go to church to listen to politics. I can listen to politics every day per social media. Okay? People don't want to listen to that. So if you're from the I'm like, I don't know what other people feel, but me, my personal feeling is I don't think we need to involve our preachers and pastors in politics. They don't need to involve themselves in those things.
Oh, great. I think before Lady Sarah come in and they did think let's give the I can see his lips moving up and down. Our resident PS, he
Okay.
has a lot to say on that.
Yeah, for me, I think I have quite a lot to say. You see, this is not the first time that the church has involved itself in politics. And if you go back from 1991 to date, the church in Zambia has always been involved in politics. And they've always gone after government when they don't feel that the government is doing what it's supposed to do. Remember Bishop Johnny Makando. He was right there at the pulpit and he said it the way he wanted to say it. Remember our Archbishop Jason Kundwali Banda, those that were during the 2021 general elections, starting from 2020. Even a movement was formed where the church was actively participating in politics. I don't see that going away anytime soon. I do not see that going away anytime soon. What is important is when the church comes in, you address the things that don't work. Trying to shut them out will not work. It will just not work. So
at Church for Lungu, what was that called? That organization?
There was Church for Lungu. Yes, there was the Actual Christians for Lungu. There was a church for H8.
There was never a church.
Listen, what I'm trying to say is not about the church being for someone. The church has been involved in politics. And in 2021, they were there in politics. In MMD, they were there in politics. What is important for me as an individual, like you gave your opinion, is about listening to what they are saying. Shutting them up, making call outs and then say, come and talk at the police station. It doesn't just add up. It's a matter of when they raise those matters, you call them into a dialogue. What is it that they are saying? How can you resolve what they're saying? What are the challenges? Can they be part of the solution? But to gang up and say, oh, bring a call out note to them, and then later on, the spokesperson for government goes to say, oh, the call out is fake. The police are saying it's genuine, but we have reviewed it and we don't see the need. So I think there is a part that the church must play, and we must consult them. But I agree with you. On a personal note, I would not want the church to be part of politics. But this is how we have managed them all the time. So that is my personal view. My personal view is that let's see what they are raising, rather than trying to shut them up. It will not work.
All right, Lady Sarah. All right, maybe we've lost her. Deep thinker.
All right, somebody's not going to like what I got to say. I can assure you.
Go ahead.
I can
Go
assure
ahead.
you
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead,
All right.
Munene. Go ahead, Munene.
Religion in Zambia, Christianity in Zambia is overrated.
Yes,
You cannot become a Zambian president if you're not tied to, if you don't endorse Christianity.
you are right.
That is overrated. That's why we cannot develop as a country, as a continent, because
Uh-huh.
we have gone too religious.
Yes,
We need some kind of regulations under which the religious groups can operate.
I agree.
We have gone beyond indoctrination. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what is the next level is, but we are 20% above indoctrination. Okay, so the religious people, they need, and our cultural norms, we need to have regulations that check the religion, gravitating towards our cultural norms. These politicians, they go to church, introduce each other at the church, and then they come out, instead of giving meeting with the government to come up with the agreeable policies to serve the Zambian people. They go out there and insult and say all that things about the government. Now, this is not only PF, it's everybody I'm talking to. Drop that religion, cut it to size.
Hello, Sister Kalinda. Did
It
you
must be
call me at some
regulated.
point?
I
I'm so
yield.
sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. You can come on after Deep Thinker.
I yield.
I'm
We
so
need
sorry.
to
My
check the
network was
religious
bad.
groups in
You called
Zambia.
me.
I yield.
All right. Deep Thinker, you want to comment on our wonderful father there was call out or
Arrest
arrest?
him if he has crossed the line. I don't have a
Yes.
problem with that.
Deep Thinker.
Arrest
Can
him,
I
put
can I
him
say
in. If
something
he, hey,
before my network goes bad? I'm driving.
Go ahead,
Can I
Lady
say
Sarah. Go
something?
ahead, Lady Sarah. Just ignore
Yeah.
Deep Thinker right now.
Yeah, for me, some of us, we are people that were born very long time ago, and we were born when Kaunda was there, and then we witnessed the MMD coming. I was finishing my teenagehood when the MMD was coming, so I saw a lot of things, and I've heard the church also, talk for the people. So this system, which the new dawn, our government is applying, where when the church speaks and they want to call out the people that were talking in the church, and it's like we are becoming cowardice. The biggest thing that the new dawn can do, the best they can do, is to ask the church, how can you help? Than putting call outs to them to say come here, and the police whatever, because those who were there, they know that the church has always been like, it is there. The church is the mouthpiece for the people. If they see something wrong, sometimes they say it, in white and black. Maybe our young fathers, they don't know how to put it, but people were there, like they would know how to put it and what to say. But if we start getting agitated as the new dawn, we are going to be like, people will look at us like we are scared if the church is, talking about certain issues. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant.
I
And
wasn't done.
all right. After you, yeah, go ahead, Deep Thinker, and then we
All
move on
right.
to the next one.
Every organization has norms. Every organization, it has norms. Our own Bishop Milingo was disciplined because he crossed the line. We all know what happened to Bishop Milingo. Human urges forced him to marry. He crossed the line, they ejected him. I don't care if we're going to eject the religious people that cross that line. I don't care. But 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 the regulations must be agreed amongst all sections of Zambia, including the traditional leaders, about what line we should walk. That's the last piece I was going to say.
Do you think maybe before others come in, just a quick submission?
Go ahead, our resident PS.
Yes, the quick submission I would give to Deep Thinker. The things he has raised are critical, but then we have not sat down to create that process. If that process is not created, Deep Thinker, it will not work to gun down the influence of religious leadership, the influence of the church on the political system. Remember, and I'm telling you, remember what the church did from UNIP to date, and how every other government has been able to support them when they are attacking the other government that is sitting in office. It is like in Bemba, where they say, wow, when they go after one person in power, the other guys in opposition think that it is also very okay for the church to do what they're doing. And then when they come power, then they realize to say, oh my goodness, we should have actually paid attention to that. And then they also get ganged up. This is what is happening currently right now. You see, when now the church now has come after the current government in the way they are coming out, what has happened with the us that we are calling the PF? What are we saying? We are saying let them be. They are okay. They are fine. You know, because when they were hammering PF in those, UPN didn't say anything. They didn't say, hey, wait a minute. Your position is the pulpit. So let us fight them as politicians ourselves. Let's take you guys outside the fight. Now you see what has happened. That fight started. That fight was supported by the current government. They turn around now. They are hammering the current government. What has happened to the opposition? They are also watching and supporting. This system, like Deep Thinker is saying, it requires policy change. It requires a different setup so that the church knows exactly where they will end. The traditional leadership know where they will end, and then the government can function properly. Because if you're going to allow every government that comes in and get gangs up by all these things, they are not seeing what government is seeing. When you sit in government, it is not something that you underestimate. You will see a lot of other things that other people are not seeing. And at times you can't just go to the public and say, oh, this is what we are seeing. And that's why you see the policy changes, you see some of the decisions made. You ask them, why did you make this decision? They become lip tight. It's lip tight. It's because of that. And the churches at times they will go over and above to attack the current government. So this is what we are doing. We need to do policy shift. If we don't do it, please, it's gonna be really tough for the current government. But
Mashina, I think you've mentioned a couple of things that I don't agree with you. Mwalanda, during when we're in the opposition as UPND,
yes,
we were supporting or encouraging what the preachers were saying.
Yes,
but I can tell you one thing. I don't think there's any at that time.
Do you want me to show you evidence of that?
No. Everybody was scared to say anything.
That's what I'm saying. Do you want me to show you evidence of it?
No. Well, let's look at it. People of Zambia are watching.
Yeah.
And they can tell you that there was nobody who can come against the PF government. No Tampo Kolandave. Just from without. But now because of the goodness of our president, he's given us that freedom of speech. At any time, at any place.
No.
But now the only problem we have is this. Preachers should remain being a preacher. Don't involve my politics, church.
Starting when?
How are those your members of congregation? How are they going to think? Because they are obviously some of them are UPND, some of them are PF, some of them are whatever United Party, whatever all these parties, one man party code, whatever it is. So now, if you're going to bring politics in the church, you're putting your congregation in harm's way. What you're doing is because they will be like, we love our preacher, we love our father.
Bachanda,
Mkwai.
Bachanda. If
Why?
I may ask, what exactly did this father say? What I know that he talked about the high meal, the cost of living. I don't know exactly what he said. Apart from that, whatever. If the father said that, I don't think that is politics. This has been happening. That is not
Okay,
politics.
Vasera, very good question. You've asked a very, very good question. What did he say?
I want to know what exactly he said.
Fine,
Because I
fine.
might be wrong.
Let me answer you. Let me answer you. So everybody knows Montuli on Salaf Makunganda. And everybody knows that the milling prices are high. It's not a hidden secret. Milling prices are high at this point, at this time. Now, out of the history of Zambia, is this the only time Ubunga wadula pomchalo? Did he preach the same message? Did he, if you go to his church, ask his congregation, did he preach the same message when the meal prices were high in the PF government?
Yes, they did.
He didn't.
Not that yes, the church did.
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is this: they're up in arms, and there are certain pastors and preachers that have been sponsored to bring a bad narrative or try to bring, in kind of government, yes, the people should, because the thing is this, even Chilpetali was saying himself that Edgar Lungu is going to the churches to campaign. Ni campaigning. They're using the church as a campaign, which is very bad. Don't use the church for campaign. Just go the ground. Omuno.
Madam Moderator.
Deep Thinker, you want to come in?
Okay.
Yes.
Can I say something, Rachel?
Yes, ma'am.
Fathers, especially the Catholics, they would stand and talk on behalf of the people of Zambia when they see like something is not in favor of everybody in Zambia. That's why I said that fathers, they don't know how to put things. Because it is right for a father to say, Moneni, even if you do ABCD to cushion yourself, that is okay. But if it's somebody is like, putting the government like that's what Chanda is saying. That is politics.
Yep.
Yes. That's different.
Okay.
All right. Before that, I know that the resident PS is already raising his hand. Let's let Deep Thinker come in, and then we'll listen to the resident PS.
All right. What I do not want to happen is for us to think like today. No, it's a long term. This problem is not today's problem. I personally had an issue when Chiluba declared Zambia a Christian nation. Once you once you declare Zambia as a Christian nation, you have given the voice to Christians to participate in the political system of the country. You have given them the voice. And now the conflict is that we are maintaining the Christian nation status, but at the same time, when they speak, we want to arrest them. We need policy change here. Because the way these Christians are treated and the way our traditional leaders and the cultural experts in our communities are treated, those are two different things. The Christians are treated much, much better than all the traditional people, as far as I know. No. until we figure out our African traditional way of leading and putting regulations, we are going to have this problem. I'm looking beyond this issue of this past. If he did wrong, arrest him. If he didn't do anything, don't arrest him. I'm on the side of the law. Let the law act and act properly, not weaponizing it. So we need a clear-cut picture. Where do we as Zambians, do we want to be Christians, full-time Christians? Do we want to claim traditional cultural people, or do we want a balance? We need a policy on that from any government that comes. If UPND doesn't do it, the next government, I would like them to do it. This is across all political parties in Zambia, as far as I know. I yield.
Right. Our resident PS, I give you 1 minute because we already passed the 2 hour mark. We should have ended at 1:30. You know, it's Sunday. People
All
have
right.
stuff to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
For
please come
me,
in.
yeah, for me, probably give me 1 minute at last to come and to talk about the issue about Buka, if that is okay. But if not, then we can make it fast. But
Mhm.
on the aspect of the church involving itself, you see, there are things that have happened before we get. How did we get where we got it? And for me to say that this time the church must go back and sit quiet and not speak about what is happening is not going to happen, because this is what has brought all governments in power, including the current government. They thrived on the change. They thrived on the statement that came from the pulpit. And I gave an example. Bishop Imakando even said it. We have to change. We have to change the government. He said it. Now, Bishop Teresford and others, they came after the government. And my viewers, why didn't the current government have issues with them then? That they should have issues with them now. And that aside, okay, they didn't have issues. The other thing is that if the Catholic bishop says the truth, should he be ganged up? If he's going to say the cost of living has gone too high, this and this and this and that has happened to his congregation, and I don't want you to be happy when these things are happening. And then we say, oh, come over here, you want to be politicizing the problem. No, unless we change the policy where the consultative process changes, where if such things happen, where are we going to put these church leaders to a conversation and have to understand what is coming from the congregants? And by the way, it's very difficult, deep thinker to say, oh, the Zambians should drop the question of Christian nation. It is a very popular decision which was done by the Zambians themselves. You can take it to referendum, and trust me, the Zambia as a Christian nation will still win. That one we must understand about it. But it's a question of how we structure the consultative process with the church so that we achieve national development. So that is what I can say on that.
My name was mentioned. May I speak to that?
Oh, I knew he was coming. 30 seconds, deep thinker.
But P.S.
Mukwai.
I'm not against Zambia being a Christian nation.
Okay.
I am against the neglecting the culture of our people at the expense. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about here. Right now, because we are a Christian nation and we're traditionalists, the issue of gay issues is a problem in Africa. But because we don't have policy, if we had the policy, that issue would not exist because our tradition does not support that.
And even our constitution doesn't.
Correct. That's where the problem is. We have given these people the word, and they're using that word, and then we want to arrest them. I'm not saying the priests are wrong. I'm just saying we don't have a policy to check them when they cross that red line. I yield.
Oh my God.
All right. Oh my goodness. Right, look here. I was even dreaming. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on.
Mm,
No, this is pretty sensitive, and
mm,
but the way I look at it, if we don't talk about it, other
mm,
people are already talking about it, and we should just put. I mean, I'm putting on my big girls' parties to
mm,
address it because it needs to be addressed. I think for me, I'm gonna. I mean, this week we saw how our minister, our justice minister, who is also foreign affairs minister, was dragged into the. Uh,
mm.
I don't even know. It's a very sad story. The double suicide of
Totally.
that Lusaka couple in Minwood, and the question is, um, let me be sensitive how I structure this because there's a political connotation to it. Everybody on this panel, I'm pretty sure I've listened to the um, the audio that came out when it was announced, that a husband killed his wife before he killed himself, and the PF came out with their guns blazing, wanting either the justice minister to resign or the president to fire him. And there's also the issue of moral issues there added on there. It was a whole lot. And I think for me, my question is, uh, it's a two-sided question. One, it's the issue of our data in Zambia. It's well known. It's well known right now. If I fly to Parliament Hotel, there are those girls that go there every evening. They're trying to throw themselves at those MPs, whether they are married or not. We don't know. Now, coming back to the issue of the justice minister, should he resign based on the audio, or should there be investigations that go into this before he is fired or resign? What is the I mean, I know we have three against two in terms of in terms of who we are. We have three males and two females. Um, what is your I mean, should he resign? I guess that should be the question. Should he resign based on an audio, or should an investigation be, carried out before punitive measures are meted out? Let's start with because the
Mm,
females, there are only two of us, and I'm generally just asking the question. Let's
mm.
ask with Lady Sarah your thoughts on what transpired this week.
Okay, yeah. First of all, I would like to pay my condolences to the two families. It's just a sad situation, sad thing that happened. I wish, I just wish that there was some control in that young man over whatever happened. And the other thing is, we don't have a full story about what's really led to that. We are just getting all these stories from the internet, the social media. And your question, Madam, about Mr. Aimbe to resign, I don't think we need to force the minister to resign. We don't know if this is true. He can resign if he feels he's part of it. But for the people to start singing the song of him resigning, it's not right because we don't have the full story. The two people are dead that can tell us the truth, and we don't have the truth. So I don't think, for me, it's up to him. If he feels he's part of what happened, then he can resign. But otherwise, I cannot sing that song of Mr. Haimbe to resign. So yeah, so my condolences to the family, and it's just sad. And the other thing on this forum, I want to appeal to people who are in marriages. When you see red flags, when it's not working, just divorce. Don't kill. Don't get killed. Thank you.
Right. There is a lady of reason there. And now let's move on to our resident PS.
I think for me, first of all, it's so sad, and my condolences to the families that lost those two loved ones. If the minister is involved, if he is involved, at whatever level, he must go. If he is involved, we haven't yet heard him say anything. There is no statement that has come from Ministry of Justice. There is no statement that has come from government to show that he is not or is involved. But if I'm basing it on that audio which came out, and he is part of that, trying to scheme to meet that person away from the office, away from official functions and stuff like that, meeting at different, and not even questioning who that gentleman was talking about, it would be unfortunate. Of course, I want the investigation to be done. That's the first thing. But if the minister has any part to play, he must go. We can't have a minister of justice and foreign affairs in such a triangle, love triangle. It's just okay to go and give himself the rest away from public office. Because as long as that guy is going to be in the office, it's going to be very bad name for government. Governments, usually we are held very seriously accountable as the senior government officers when you do that. Even when you have a relationship and it blows out at the place of work where the person you are working as a senior civil servant, for instance, as PS or as a minister, usually it's either they will remove the person that you involved with to another ministry, or they will remove you yourself away from that. So if the minister is involved, he has to go. If he's involved, if he's not, then the other things can take place. But if he's involved in the smallest magnitude, he must go.
Okay. One question about PS. So if your personal life, is it being judged? Like obviously you got a government job and everything, but you also have your personal life.
In fact, they will tell you when you are being sworn in, like there's nothing like a personal life to you when you are at a level where you are having to swear before the Constitution to protect the Constitution and the government. There's no personal life to you in as far as relationships are concerned. It's a very unethical thing. Yes, it's very unethical, and we have values and morals to uphold as leaders. So on that basis, you have to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're done. That was
no, I just wanted to ask that one. I didn't know, like, that's how it was. Like that, what it is in the government. Your personal life, when you're in the government, I mean, it's definitely being monitored and stuff like that. And you cannot just do anything.
Yeah,
so I wanted to just clarify that for me.
Yeah, just to add you can't even be found anywhere you want to be found when you are there. There are certain places you can't go. They will tell you can't be found here, a minister. You can't be found here, a PS. For instance, you can't be found in a you can't. You can't go to a strip club and be found there dancing. You can't. That is those are values and morals that are very, very much held when you are getting to those offices. You must know what you are getting yourself into. So you give away certain privileges to enjoy other privileges that you are enjoying. Other things are gone.
Wow.
Yes, we are now opening a Pandora box.
I'm telling you,
you are opening up a Pandora box because not too long ago, I mean, also we had rampant, media reports of one notorious who is now a fugitive. You know where I'm going with this. Kaiser Zulu. Okay. He was shooting people in. He was the presidential political advisor. He was shooting people in Chicago's at
Mm-hmm.
some lodges in cafe after drinking. We
Mm-hmm.
saw him. We saw
He
him.
was misbehaving
My
himself. That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
he was. Yeah, apparently he was. There, I mean, people called for for him to resign, to be fired. Nothing happened. But that's just me. Who am I? Jim Thinker, you've been too quiet over there. I'm sure you have a mouthful on this.
Yeah, I do. This is really conflicting with me, and uh, I would like to let everybody know here that the justice minister is actually my relative, not in the Tonga sense.
Mm,
Not in the Tonga sense.
mm,
He's my relative in blood sense. Okay. Now,
mm,
having said this, I want to say condolences to the families
mm,
affected by this. This should not happen at all. And just a piece of advice, because today I'm on a cultural and a traditional rant.
mm,
We need to get back to the uh, African tradition whereby elders are involved in marital issues. When you
mm,
get married, you bring the families together, and
mm,
if there is a problem, you bring the families together.
mm, mm,
Listening to a video from, I think it's the sister to the deceased, the young lady who died, she was saying she asked the sister not to go to the house because it wasn't the right time to go back there, whatever
mm,
was going on. So she went. She should have been escorted by the African tradition. She should have
Mm-hmm.
been escorted so
mm,
that the issues are discussed.
mm,
That I'm going to leave it right there. So the cultural piece need to be taken into consideration. And then, as far as resigning, uh, there is also a personal life to every person. There is a personal life, and and as Zambians, we claim. As a matter of fact, let me not say we claim. We are a country of laws. It's up to the minister to resign now because he knows what we all don't know,
Mm-hmm.
or let the process start. Let's say investigation and everything, so that he's either uh, guilty or exonerated from this issue. So let's wait that let him be uh, investigated as a person who has rights in our lovely country. And then after that, the president can decide to fire him if he doesn't resign on his own. The problem we have now is jumping to UPND. Don't forget that a political party is made out of individuals, and each individual has a life, and they should be judged as individuals and then look at the reaction of the party to individual things that individuals are doing and then judge the party. But first of all, let's look at the individual and the issue at hand. I would love, if it was me, if you ask me, I probably would have uh, stood aside so that the investigation can stand down so that the investigations can go on and then life goes on. If it was me, I yield.
oh my God. No, it's a sad story. It's a very sad story. Like I think everybody can agree and attest to it. Like losing two lives like that is really bad. And to be honest with me, I feel like you know the women. I'm sorry to say this, Kalinga, but in Zambia the women and they're not confident with what they do, what they're doing, or whatever. So it becomes idiot after and you cheat on your husband in Zambia. It's like a normal thing, you know. So All these things, we need to like really structure it and say, like, look, why are people cheating on each other? Well, this is what this is all about. Somebody was cheating, somebody are married already, you already have a husband, you already have a and then you cheat on your husband, and then your husband finds out, and then the husband reacts in a way that nobody could expect. But why are the Zambian ladies? What niche but now what the Muslim in Darama?
I can answer that
What,
one.
Lucia? Before you come in, but different. No. My name was mentioned
You
there.
want to
But
be ready for the minister's misbehavior.
yes, let me come in, please. But you were no, but Lucia mentioned me.
I want to give
Yeah.
you a
Let me
perspective
jump
on
in
this one.
first.
Minister, sorry. Okay, we wait for our team.
Okay.
Go ahead, Deep Thinker.
But Chirufia, personally, I think that is a very unfair statement about women loving money. Zambians love money. Period. Human beings love
Okay.
We have
money.
money, including ourselves here.
Yes. So let me go on this one. One, gender issues are really, really serious in Zambia. They must be taken seriously and they must be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you talk about women loving money and cheating, Zambian men cheat.
Oof.
Zambian men cheat.
Or they do
African men cheat. So
for money.
so since we want to go the Christian way,
Mm.
let's be fair and equitable to the women. Now, if we go the traditional way, that's different because then we have issues of polygamy. Everyone needs attention. My grandfather was married to 5 women. They gave him attention. He didn't give each one of them attention. I yield.
Okay. You want me to go
Now
in?
let me come
Okay.
in.
Let
Let
my
me
PS come
come
in.
in.
Can I?
Eh?
No, moderator, before you come in, I want to first of all go after Machilufia. You
Mm.
cannot be blaming women for minister's misbehavior. You haven't even said anything. We know you love the minister, you want him to be there, and he's good for you. This is a dent on the current government. Cornelius was just 2-3 months ago. Cornelius was in the same thing. Cornelius Mwetwe was in the same thing. This time is the Minister of Justice. We can't be blaming women when we are the ones that have misbehaved. If we misbehave, we own up and leave. That is what is there. You leave.
Points.
Not
Good
after
point. I'm going to
misbehave, you
Zambi.
can
Awe.
Good
respond.
point.
Moneni.
Hey,
Moneni Bakalamba.
Minister, Nyakuya, baby.
Moneni Bakalamba. Shirelanda. What I'm saying is this. I'm not blaming the women.
Who are
But
you
what I'm
blaming?
saying is this. There's a root cause to all these things.
Yes, but first of all, if someone will do it, we must condemn.
Huh?
Someone
There's
doing
a
the
root
minister.
cause. Okay, the minister Rufyanya and everything and all that stuff. But look at it.
Because you see, we have not yet gotten the entire story. So we said, if the minister has a share chance of him involved, he must leave. But in the Chakwate investigations and other things, we find that the minister is innocent. Maybe he was evaluating there, something like that, or something like that. Then that's different. But if
Yes.
the minister has one part to play, he must go.
Okay, I agree with you. But we also need to look at the other angle. I know this is not a very popular or very favorable opinion that I'm saying. Ava nakaishi na mushu. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Bakalinda. I'm sorry, Lady Sarah. I'm very sorry. But if you look, and everybody that I've been talking to in Zambia, but I learned that in Zambia right now, abana kashina bashupa sana when it comes to all these issues. You have relationships, having money, they want to have money all the time and stuff like that, and they're dating around ups and ups and ups and ups. So these are the issues. We need to look at it like, look, why don't you be content with what you have? Why you want to date 10 people at one time? So that now kwatendama, you want to live in a very expensive home, expensive luxury, shikumana nikanekupa what's it called, minudo, whatever. I don't know these places now in Zambia. But you want to live that kind of lifestyle that you cannot maintain. And you have got sugar daddies already 5. You see? Uyu wamulelo wamubepa, mailo wabepo, mailo wabepo, and everybody's giving you the money. And you know that they're married. So this is real stories. This is what's happening right now in Mozambique. Mama. That's the point I'm trying to reach. Why don't we?
Bachanda, I take great exception to what you want to Bachanda.
I agree with you, moderator. You also take great exception.
Yeah, I take very great exception right now.
Hey, Njebedi.
Muri unfair. What you are doing is
What you are doing, truth, yeah? I don't even want to go there. You know, it's rare that
We have to look
as
at the coin at the
women,
other side.
no. I mean, let's just put it out there. Yeah, let's just put it out there. I mean, in this context, from what I've been able to gather, that woman, that man, the one who killed his wife, he left his first wife with 4 kids and jumped on this bandwagon. I mean, let's just put it out there. There is something about our own Zambian men. Now, I'm just gonna
African
go there.
men.
Zambians with women nabantu ababutenkando abantu ababamixed. Let's just put it there. It's out there. Yes, abakashika. Because according to Zambian men, Gawali Kashika Kwati Lady Sarah, you are the most beautiful woman on earth. Eh? So this man who killed his wife, he left. First of all, he was in the UK. He started there. After Shupika, he got a very lucrative job, Kuzanako. And those are the stories I'm hearing. He left. He left with his wife. He went to Zambia, Korea. He left his 4 kids and ran after her. And he married her. Whatever accident he lost his job. Then he couldn't maintain that lifestyle. I mean, who knows what Wakashika was also trying to make a living. I mean, if I was in her shoes, how can I be living in a big mansion community? Then one man she day in, day out. She was trying to make her living, and apparently he was also abusive. According to the stepchild, he even told the mother, leave him. He used to beat her up. Let's just not heap blame on women that no, the situation in Zambia now, women love money. Let's look at the coin on both sides. Even the men. So, Zambia. If you see on my inbox, people think just because I'm here, I have a lot of dollars. Young boys, I have to tell them all.
They know that I'm in the United States of America. Young men come in my inbox asking for what they want. They also love money. Who doesn't love money? For you to say Zambian women love money. And in short, you are saying, no, let me say something. In short, you are saying that because she loves money, that's why this has happened. No. But involved. Why did to deal with his wife. He starts, you know. So we should not start saying that Zambian.
You're cutting off.
Yeah, we're losing her.
It's wrong.
Yeah. So in the end, the kids are lost. That's a tragedy.
I'm saying Bachanda, money.
London.
Everybody loves money.
Everybody loves money, eh?
Be it a woman
Okay.
or a man. Yes, everybody loves money. You love space. You are causing people to kill each
other. That's true. No, that's true. I agree with you.
All right. Shall we now move on to Batufia? Because now I had a good day. I was having such a wonderful day. But now my heart is broken. What has happened? Mr. Chirufia's words have hit to the core. Anyway. Shall we now move on to today? I'm just going to say congratulations to the mighty Manchester United. And that's all I have on my run. That's all I have on my congratulations to the elegant, classic Manchester United. I rest my case. Who is in for a rant?
We have a problem with that statement, Wakalinda. Earlier on you said Manchester United is like Uka. That's very disrespectful. I just needed to state that.
I really feel sorry for Manchester United. You know?
No,
I really feel sorry for them.
We don't need your sorry, Bachanda.
Time when we win games, everybody would know. This is not a win. This is not a win.
We don't need your sympathy.
Yeah, we're sorry. Because you're nowhere near where we are.
We don't
to be honest, you're nowhere near where we are. No matter how good you play. So, what are remaining with 7 games? That's all. 7 games.
We stated earlier on that we are rebranding. This is for next season. We're done for this year.
Rebranding.
Yeah, we're rebranding. Uka is an association. It's not a party.
Now, Kapali Uka and Manchester United. Let me say something because I hate these things here. Well, one of the things I want to take from what Deep Thinker said, but I only take away one thing. You see, it's not about the confusion. Zambia is a very complex country where politics takes turns and twists. You can downplay Uka right now at your own period. I'm telling you right now. If you do not fix if people are not going to have food, like very soon, because you see, in Zambia, the most dangerous is the one you underestimate.
Yeah, no.
If you underestimate somebody, you will cry. We have been there.
Who's the leader of Uka? Who's the leader?
I'm telling
who's the leader?
The leader right now does not matter.
Okay. So how are people going to follow you with no
Let me
leadership?
give you a typical example what happens in Zambia right now with the Zambian politics and your party right now. If any leader is going to be there, you crash, you guys. Your party will see.
There's nobody. Kutambira pepa lungu kufika kuli all these other leaders talk. There's nobody who can be a match to the president. Name one person. Name one person. Okay, name one person.
The Zambians will tell them.
No. Name one person. Tell us. Name one person.
No, I'm not. You see, if what you are saying that there's no leadership, there's no opposition. The Zambians will endorse 2026 is there. It's not up to you and me. We share a different opinion right now.
Why would the Zambian people vote back some people that they've rejected for the last 10 years?
People
Why would they want to bring them back? Why?
President H was rejected how many times?
No, he wasn't in power. But you guys, you became in power, and then you want to come back in power after being rejected.
That has never happened. It can happen.
Oh, no ways. No ways.
Number two,
no
right
way.
now,
No way in
right
hell.
now,
No way. I'm telling you the truth. No way in hell.
But you see, unless you are saying that now you must adopt your opinion, then you can say no way. But if I'm going to give my opinion on this forum, you take it the way I'm saying.
Umuntu fiye olomwa yafe muke shepo umuntu
batandeka nini lekeni nani
muke shepo vya abantu mukabe pushe muneni. For example,
all right, now I think we're coming to an end. You know, upate uka. President PS. We're coming to an end. Let's let Giselle say her final thoughts for today.
Final, that what you do, Bakalinda and Rachanda.
We lost her. I think she froze over there. Anyway, it's been a wonderful evening or afternoon, evening, world, wherever you are. So EPL. I mean, I don't know why we're talking about EPL. All of a sudden, we go back to Ukwa because the rest in PS wasn't here. He's the only PS man here.
Because you made a reference of Man United and Ukwa, so we had to bring it back.
Yeah, it's because of you.
Moderator.
The
resident PF, I need to make a comment because he made some comments there. You are absolutely right that 2026 will cry, but those will be tears of joy because right now we're crying because of the minimal leadership that PF provided to the Zambians.
Okay.
So now we will cry to celebrate that what we're doing is working. That's why we'll cry. I agree with you.
Okay. So this time it will be tears of joy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I wish you well. If you're going to say the tears of joy are going to come and the tears of sorrow on the other side, because you see, the goodness is that the Zambians make the decision. There's no in Zambia you can say this one is so useless, no one is going to look at him. The Zambians will elevate the same useless person that you think is not.
So who do you see as the next president?
So whoever
you're not answering the question.
But, you know what we forgot to talk about? Now you just reminded me.
Am I not the one being asked the question?
Wait,
you're not answering the question.
In 1 second, let me answer the question. Please, a deep thinker, a current investor, the answer. The answer is this. Whoever is going to lead UKA might carry the day, depending on how the UPND are going to do the next 2 years.
Oh, so you are still in the cloud of not knowing. As we know, it's HH. We know we definitely
I don't underestimate the current leadership. First of all, I do not underestimate the current leadership because for him to be president, the Zambian people gave him the confidence and to run the country. And the Zambian people are going to give him a verdict. But also, there are certain things that fundamentally must be dealt with. If they're not dealt with, from my experience, 28 years in Zambia up to 2021, they can bite UPND very seriously. So if you don't want to listen to me, it's fine. But I'm not underestimating the current leadership.
We can listen to you, Machina. But at the end of the day, people want leadership.
Yeah, but
it's not only simple leadership. People want quality leadership.
That's a discussion another day. We can start another day of just talking to quality leadership and what it entails. Then we can now start to measure.
Yes. And I can tell you one thing. Tapari muyuka ukwa whatever you call yourself. There's nobody who's got that level.
But PS, question to you. If you were to stand as an MP, would you stand under UQA, PF, UPND, or you as an independent?
Right now, so if I was to go to Zambia and be a member of parliament, I can tell you that I can stand on who can win. I can stand on UPND.
Oh my God!
All right.
Nobody will vote for you on that ticket. I'm telling you.
But you see,
he's
that's
UQA
you,
representative,
you.
not a PF.
No,
I got it now.
No, it's my. You're asking me a question, so that I should give you my answer. Now, you want me to give you an answer that you are looking for? No, I'm giving you the answer.
No, I'm not looking for an answer. That's your choice to who you want to who you want to
Gentlemen,
support.
I think, gentlemen, you guys can stay in the background and continue debating each other on this forum, but let's end the live show.
I really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Yes, let's end the live show, but we can go back in the background and just talk. Yeah, because that's where we're heading. So, for one, it's time to say good night, good evening, good day, good morning, au revoir, kamcho, do you want to all those good things?
I didn't have my rhyme.
All right, go ahead, Deep Thinker.
So we are doing a great thing. We are shaping the conversation about the country we love so much with all kinds of ideas we have for our country, whether we agree or disagree. This is a forum where everybody is given a chance to speak, and we are actually showing that we are Zambians who look at things either partisan or not partisan, depending on the issue.
Yeah.
But PSU will be supported
Yeah.
as long as you convince us what your thoughts are about our country. And same for us. We appreciate you bringing a different kind of vibe to the forum.
Thank you so very
thank
much.
you, I yield.
I appreciate.
But PS, your final words.
I really thank this group. I feel very welcomed. I feel open. I feel that this open discussion is very important, and also probably I bring my different challenge to maybe some of the information that might be missing out, to make sure that okay, probably if you've not seen it from that angle, I bring out that. And I also learn a lot from you colleagues in terms of how you see things and in terms of how you see our country going forward. This conversation is very important. I wish we could have this conversation even in Zambia. This conversation is, taking place and people having divergent views and coming up together. I really appreciate and I don't know what I can say. You guys are really awesome. I really love the way this has been going, and thank you very much for the discussions. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. So we see you next week.
Thank
Our
you.
resident PS. Thank you again.
Oh no, that's everybody. Thank you for joining us and contributing. It's been a lovely talk, lovely chat. Yes, thank you very much. Valentine, everybody else that contributed. We thank you guys. We hope to see ourselves next week again.
Absolutely. I have to go do my taxes before tax season ends. So, but we can continue the discussion in background. We'll just end. Until next week, world. Keep the faith.